Hey everyone, this is Wilson, and today I'm reviewing the Korg Kaossilator Pro. And if we go ahead and turn it on here, boom. Right, so it's by Korg, and what it said just there was basically what it is. It says Kaossilator Pro, dynamic phrase synthesizer and loop recording, and then it said loading. So basically, it's almost the exact same as the Chaos Pad 3, which I have over here, which is the same thing but red, not really. But compared to the Chaos Pad 3, this is a synth, whereas this is a effect/sampling device. So the difference between a synth and an effector is a synth produces sound, whereas an effector affects it by changing it, such as if I... like that. That's strange. Give a sec. There we go. Right. So, the Kaossilator Pro is a synth that was released in 2010 by Korg. An updated version called the Kaossilator Pro Plus was released by Korg in 2013, which is the exact same thing, but it has like a few more sounds. Like this, as you can see, it starts from 000 and goes all the way up to... and wait for it, 200, yeah, because it goes to 199 and then plus 0, so that's 200 sounds. The Kaossilator Pro Plus is almost the exact same and just has more sounds, I guess. All right, so let's see here. It retails for about between 250 to 300. You probably get a used one for about 200. Let's see what else here. Right. So the Kaossilator Pro, while itself has been succeeded by the Kaossilator Pro Plus, the Kaossilator Pro itself is based off the body of the Chaos Pad 3, as well as a previous device known as the Kaossilator, which was a similar device that was also a synth, but was much smaller and less powerful, I'd say. So now if we go ahead, I'm just going to run through some of the sounds. So it says L for lead. Right? So now I can scroll up. Maybe I want to, let's see. This is a mini lead. So as I continue, I'm going to start bringing in some of the other features. For example, key. We can change what key it's played in. That by itself isn't very useful, but if we notice, we have a scale. Ionian, chromatic, Dorian, etc., Aeolian, minor. If we hit shift, and then we hit that same button down there, so shift, note range. Now, right now it says program, which means each program has its own note range. We can set it to, we can set it to 1 octave, 2 octaves, 3 octaves, or 4 octaves. There's also a mode called full, which means that it'll be at least 4 octaves, but some instruments will have much more. So if we set it to 1 octave for playing by hand, let me check. Yep, so it's 1 octave. Now it'll only play, because we're in the scale, let's go with this one. It'll only play the notes that are in that scale once over, so in 1 octave. So if I play it, major scale, right? So if we go there, Aeolian, let's change the sound to something like what? This is a sine bass, right? So if you notice there, the X direction, so left and right, changes the pitch, while up and down changes an effect of some sort. Like that. All right, so if I keep going, let's say, what's this? Okay, number 26 is something called ambient lead. So yeah, I played this earlier. It's an ambient sounding lead, obviously. Right? So now if we keep going, we got something like, there's like a lot of leads. So 39 pitch mod. Oh, so right. So left and right is obviously just plays the song. I'm just gonna change the octaves to 2. All right, so you have a wide variety. You can't program it, unfortunately. So, but obviously, how would you really program something like this? So now we get to A, which is atmospheric, not atmospheric. What is it called? Actual instruments. I don't know what the A actually stands for. For example, P for piano. Sorry, not P for piano. This one's piano. Where lower is obviously lower volumes, lower velocities, and up is higher velocities. We got like tape flute. Sounds pretty nice. So if we keep going, we got things like basses. Let's see, I should have one stored here, like that one. Here's a good one. Sometimes they don't just modulate one parameter. For example, let's say I play a low note here, a note in the Y coordinate. And now if I play one in the higher coordinate, it does an arpeggiator. Which brings me to the built-in arpeggiator. So let's scroll past the bass sounds to something like this. C is chords. That's a bad one. That's pretty nice. So if I hold this, it plays the chord. But now, let's say I want it to repeat itself every half beat. Turn on the arpeggiator. And maybe make it like to a quarter beat. So as you can see, you can change the speed as it's playing. It's a very simple arpeggiator, obviously only repeating because this is a monophonic synth. The touchpad's only mono, and if you feed any input to it, it'll also be mono. An interesting feature brought over from the Chaos Pad over here is something called hold, where the gate arp button normally is. That's where the hold button on the Chaos Pad 3 is. The function is duplicated by if you hold shift and then you tap. Like that. And so it just holds that note. So if you scroll past all the chords, then we get to S, which are synthesized sounds? Not really. You get like crazy effects. Right? So I'm just gonna scroll really quickly. So then we get to D. It's really important. D stands for drums. For example, it says house kit 1. Left side is bass. That's a snare. Hi-hat. Ride. So you can play a beat, which is okay. Or if we skip all the way to P, then we get patterns, where you can just hold it. Like that. So obviously you're thinking, oh, let's say I hold shift and then I play the beat. Now let's say I want to layer something on top of it. Let's switch the pattern to something else. Oh no, the pattern's gone now, right? It's called a loop recorder for a reason. So let's get back to that house pattern. The 4 buttons down here can each hold a loop of, where it is, there we go, of a specified size. For example, anywhere between really small to 1 beat, 2, 3, 4, 8, 16. So let's say we want to go for 8. Now all we do is hold this, and then Well, let's figure out where we want to start it from. Nope. That is a different one, actually, but whatever, it works. So let's say we want to use that as our beat. So we hold this, and then we tap. Now it keeps playing down here, and if I change the pattern, it keeps playing. So let's say there's vocoders. I can't really use those without plugging in a mic, though I suppose it does affect the drum. No, I guess not. All right, so let's go back to the leads. So now let's say we want to layer an ambience lead on top of this. Just hold this and then play it. So let's figure out a pattern first. Let's do some bass actually. Alright, so let's try something like this. That was terrible. But you get the point. If you notice, when I hit it, it continues from where it's supposed to be playing in time with the with this drum beat. So another interesting feature of this that I haven't gone over is actually not part of the device itself. An issue with that I found with it is you can't directly connect a keyboard to the back of these because it treats this as a special type of input, and I have to connect it through a computer in order to get keyboards to input to it. But what that allows me to do is, rather than using the really inaccurate touchpad here, all I have to do is set the note range to 4 octaves, turn on the program, and go to my keyboard, which is over there. And now let's say I want to erase this loop. Boom, the loop is now erased eventually. But now what I can do is I can hold this, play that, hit record. Actually, an interesting thing to note is inputs that are from here can't directly really be recorded by holding this then playing it. What you can do instead is hit the record button, then wait, let's get the bass playing. Hit the record button, hit there, and then it'll record in a loop continuously until you hit the record button again. So now let's say we wait for the beat to resume. So if you notice there, as soon as I was done recording it, I hit shift and then I hit any of them. It doesn't really matter. Hitting shift and holding them lets you change the loop length. But it also gets into this mixer type mode where this is the kick, the drums. And this is the bass that I was playing. That gives you like mixing, that allows you to mix between things really easily, etc. But the thing is, I was playing that on my keyboard, and if I try it again, like you see, it's not inputting anything because right now it's in mixer mode. But if I go out of mixer mode, let's say I want to play this lead instead. These are already playing. I need to turn them up. So that's playing. Let's say I hit record, hit that button, wait for it to resume the counter. So as you can see, I can change how those work. But then, for example, let's say I'm just playing the bass there. Oh, whoops, that's the wrong one actually. One moment, I want to change that one. It allows you to change the length of it. Interestingly enough, if I go back to this one, play it, and you see the length is 16 even though we never recorded it. What happens is that it doubles it. And what this allows you to do is now, let's say I want to go back to this one. Let's go to the bass again, right? Go back to it, and now it's recording again. But now it's 16 long, so that allows me to perhaps layer another layer of this bass on top of it. So now, once every 2 times that it gets to the multiple of 8, it'll do that. So for the first 8, it'll do the thing I played, and the next 8, it won't. So now if I turn off the recording, yeah. Anyways, so you can use it as a standalone, or you can do what I did and connect it to the computer, and download this program called Kaossilator Pro Notes, which allows you to basically use it with a keyboard. There's also a vocoder on here, but I can't really do that without connecting a mic, which I don't exactly have hooked up to it at the moment. A few other features, if you notice, are there's a USB, which allows you to plug it in by USB and use it to control things. Another feature is something called external control. So if I go there, everything just like dies, right? And what this allows you to do is basically none of these buttons will do anything. But it'll output it through MIDI and USB, and this allows you to control other devices using it without having to worry about, it's now producing synth sounds. For example, let's say I play the bass, right? So now it's not producing sounds anymore, but it allows you to use it as like a mono-touch controller where this sends X, Y, and then tapping is another message that I can send. And yeah, so I guess that's it for the Kaossilator Pro, actually. Hope you enjoyed this video, and comment on if you want me to review anything else, like if you liked it, subscribe if you really liked it, you know, the usual. Peace out.